Welcome to this edition of the Desert Vision, presented by U.S. Army Central. I'm Sergeant Brett Nordyke.
And I'm Sergeant James Larmer.
Coming up on this edition of the Desert Vision, U.S. Army Central and Kuwaiti soldiers participate in the Area Support Group-Kuwait 2018 basketball tournament. An ARCENT Soldier shares his story of earning his Level 2 Modern Army Combatives Program certification. And USARCENT's Deputy Commanding General shares his thoughts on leadership.
Following up with the combative story from our last episode, U.S. Army Specialist Claudio Rene with the 984th Military Police Company showcases his journey of earning his Level 2 Modern Army Combatives Program certification and what it means to him.
What's more warrior-like than hand-to-hand combat? Well, I guess for me, it was since I was younger. I was an immigrant from Venezuela, so when I came to this country at 14, I was kind of bullied a lot, so I had to either learn a fight to defend myself or just get, crammed down by everybody, so it was kind of like my only choice. Yeah, and then it turned into something very passionate about. A lot of times what I think people tend to overlook is sometimes they tend to rely a lot on your weapons, and of course you need to rely on that's always the number one thing. But there's times where we can't use our weapons and we need to grapple, try to hold this person down. And I feel like knowing the proper techniques to do that, to not only not hurt yourself, but then not hurt the other opponent or kill the other opponent. When I was younger, I was very tense, very scared, because you're fighting another opponent, so it's a scary experience, especially going into a fist-to-fist fight or anything like that. So after a while, when you train it and you do it enough times, you realize that the calmer you are, the more effective you are. Even from relaxing your face sometimes can help you think clearly what your next move is going to be and what you're reacting. You're more reacting to your opponent. You're not so much thinking what you're going to do, you're reacting what he's going to do, and then you counter that.
Timekeeper, you ready? Scorekeeper, you ready? Fighter, you ready? Fighter, you ready? Fight!
I've always felt like if we're going to train to be warriors, we're going to be soldiers, and it's in our warrior ethos that we talk to ourselves all the time and we mention it to each other, then I feel like fighting needs to be a really important aspect of being a soldier.
Rene has participated in a variety of martial arts disciplines since the age of 14 and enjoys the hand-to-hand combat that combatives allows him to demonstrate. Next, American and Kuwaiti soldiers compete for the Area Support Group-Kuwait 2018 Basketball Championship title at Camp ARIFJAN.
Had a tournament with the Kuwaitis. You just bring each other together because we've never played together before, so just throwing people together and playing and being able to have the chemistry, it's pretty good. So I believe doing this, it gives a connection so that you can be outside of basketball, outside of sports world. So I believe it builds teamwork between us two, and just a good time for us to have out here, and it just brings us two together.
Sports activities like these demonstrate the importance of teamwork and continue to strengthen partner relationships outside of the workplace.
Continuing the effort to protect troops deployed to malaria-endemic areas, the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research, or RARE, has been at the forefront of the U.S. Army's anti-malarial effort for decades, pursuing two lines of effort: developing anti-malarial vaccines and drugs.
All of these endemic infectious disease threats affect readiness because if our soldiers are sick, they're not out fighting the war.
RARE's anti-malarial vaccine continues its tradition of developing life-saving vaccines with the goal of protection through a deployment. RARE's other line of effort is developing anti-malarial drugs for malaria prevention and cure. RARE has participated in developing every available malaria prevention drug. Their latest success came with FDA approval of the drug tafenoquine in August of 2018. Despite these successes, further work is necessary to constantly innovate new and more effective anti-malarials.
You know, the parasites tend to outsmart us, so they develop resistance. As we push out new drugs, those will eventually develop resistance, and so we need to keep the pipeline going.
Rare continues to field preventatives, therapeutics, and diagnostics to stay ahead of these illnesses. For your Army Medical Command, I'm Jenny Fisher.
Leadership is a characteristic that is personified differently by each leader. In this segment of our series, Leaders on Leading, we learn what leadership means to Major General David Hill, U.S. Army Central's Deputy Commanding General.
One of the reasons I think I'm still serving after almost 29 years of service is because I feel like from my first unit of assignment to today, I've been blessed to interact with really positive, encouraging leadership throughout my entire Army career. And you know, there's been things that have stood out at different periods of my time. There's been sometimes where I've worked for folks that were just technically or tactically brilliant, right? And you know, there's an aspect of that that's truly impressive and aspirational. But often it's the human dimension of what you do as leaders, right, that I think resonates with me most. As far as leadership style, I think personally it has to be genuine, because I think trying to be something other than yourself is difficult personally, and I think those that work for you see through that in a moment's notice, right? And if you're not perceived as genuine, I think that sort of undermines your credibility as a leader. As a leader, you have to recognize that it's never about you. It's about your organization, its mission, and the people that work with you. Quick to praise when you have successes, and quick to accept responsibility when things don't go well are examples, I think, of being humble and recognizing, again, that it's not about you. From the standpoint of being kind, you know, some people, that raises an eyebrow when I say that, because it may or may not fit with their expectations of a military leader. And by no means does that mean soft or that you accept anything other than the highest standards. It's still absolutely essential as a leader that you set and enforce high standards. But you know, when we're unable to achieve those standards, or we veer left and right of expectations, you know, you correct with respect and you treat everyone with dignity. And you do that in a way that improves your organization and improves the health and morale of your organization as you move forward. Our organizations are not perpetual energy machines. Here in Kuwait, wherever you serve, anywhere I've been in the last 5 to 10 years, I think there's a general sense that our requirements always exceed the resources that we have to put against it. And you know, so leaders and how they prioritize, how they encourage, and help folks work through those challenges. You can put positive energy into the system that helps move you forward, or you can be a drag on the system, and that gets to a little bit of style and how you drive your organization. So, be genuine, be humble, be kind, be optimistic, and I think that's a leader style that fits well. To be a good leader, I think if you've accomplished the mission and you've improved your organization, some might, just based off of those two things, characterize you as a good leader. But I think, you know, if you've inspired people during the time that you've led them, you've inspired them a way that makes them sort of want to apply discretionary effort more than what's asked of them, because they're committed to the mission, they're committed to you, they believe in what you're trying to do. But that gets to being a great leader, right? Because I think those are folks that leave a lasting impact. And you know, there's a little bit of distinction there between just competence and character, and then bringing the two together in a way that's just truly powerful. So I think, in my mind, that's a difference between a good leader and a great leader.
Now let's take a look at what the major commands of U.S. Army Central are up to.
That's it for this edition of the Desert Vision. For these stories and more, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/US Army Central.
And our YouTube channel at youtube.com/US Army Central. I'm Sergeant Brent Nordyke.
And I'm Sergeant James Larmer.
Thanks for watching.